I'm watching this little guy over here in the corner because, oh, last time I went live to do this, it said it never switched over to going live actually. So I recorded the entire thing and on Friday, and it didn't record at all. So I want you to know I did not throw a fit. I just planned to do it today. But today I'm watching that little sign and it is now live. So that means it's going to record this. Uh, so let's get started. We're going to talk about, today we're talking about unsung treatment goals of complex PTSD recovery. Part two. Okay, part two of take two of part two. So, um, I talked about this last Tuesday, and I started this lovely little diagram. I'm going to continue with it because there's some more things I want you to be able to see. My goal that I shared in that video was that I really want you to be impressed with your brain. I want you to be impressed with your healing, and I want you to look for these things because you will really enjoy your healing a lot more if you know that what you're doing is working. And so, if I give you more things to look for, this means it's your brain's processing. This means your brain is resolving things. This means growth is happening. If you can watch those for yourself, you're going to feel a lot better along the journey, especially if you've got complex PTSD, because you can really feel like you're not getting anywhere because it's complex. It takes quite a bit of time, but you are getting somewhere, and I want to show you these things. Okay. Um, so I'm Rachel McLeod. I am a mental health therapist, a coach, and a therapist mentor. And I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety and depression and traumatic stress. The brain, the entire mind body system has a wonderful process for resolving symptoms. This process can get blocked, impaired, stopped. Um, and just malfunction, and so that we're not actually healing and growing, right? You know, the symptoms are hanging out, repeating over and over again. You can count on them, they're reliable, they're not coming and getting the brain needs to be able to utilize that information, not just create symptoms. But when this process is blocked, it's just going to create symptoms. The symptoms are actually evidence that your brain is trying to go through its healing process, and it's blocked. It's not working. So I really specialize in helping that process get unblocked and to get this stuff moving. And really, when the brain is processing and using this, what's causing symptoms, instead of using it to cause growth, wonderful things are happening. Growth, uh, that's what I'm talking about here. Okay, so that puts us right in here. So what we're going to also see, I'm going to refer back because I've already talked about a couple of these things. I'm going to do this because I've written this out already because this is my second time doing this video. Uh, in the first video, I wrote them one at a time. But when the mind body system process is moving towards healing and growth, when we're in that brain state, as opposed to a blocked one, and the survival system generating survival state, and survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, faint, and fawn, which is where we get our symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. But when it's open and it's moving towards processing, our nervous system is regulating, we're creating new patterns of regulation, we are rewiring to accuracy, we're coming out of distortions like all or nothing thinking, either or mentalities, fortune telling. um, I'm noticing that my computer is on low. Sorry, guys. I have it plugged in, but something's going on here. Very interesting. I don't know if I should, because I want this video to happen. There we go. I don't want to get canceled in the middle of it. Okay, again. All right, so these are some of the things that we're going to start seeing happening. If our system is processing, we're also, okay, so rewiring to accuracy. We're going to stop doing things like future telling. these are the cognitive distortions. There's about 15 that we do. We minimize things. We blow things out of proportion, right? We don't give them as much importance as we need to. We dismiss things. There's tons of things that we do here, and your brain's job is to make that stuff accurate. That's initial, early on the processing, more unprocessed state, and the more things get processed, the more we get more accurate, the more we can see the either ors and all the things in between. We can see a broad spectrum of experiences and options. And this is really cool because you might know this if you're doing this type of brain work. You're going to start noticing that you are jumping to conclusions less. You're finding yourself listening more, being more present. You're not jumping to either or ideas. Well, either you're this or you're that. You're just more calm and regulated, and it's not an effort. Your brain actually is making this new thing for you, and that's really cool and surprising. And it takes this out of willpower and really moves it into a subconscious program. And at the beginning, anyway, that's I want to nerd out on that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep that very simple. So I want to talk about, oh, the other thing on this thing is that we last time we talked about how I'm looking at things from these perspectives. This is how I'm monitoring progress, and how I am guiding people along the journey. Like I'm constantly pulling brains out to this. If the brain is not doing it itself, most of the time the brain is doing it itself. This one processing ability, brains do phenomenal things, and you kind of just stand back and watch, and then you're like, oh, you're having a little trouble over here. Hey, come over in this direction. But we want to see if brains can do things in a simple place, right? So if we're rewiring to accuracy, and we've got all or nothing thinking, simple meaning there's not a lot of things involved. Okay. Complex meaning there's more variables involved, more people, more like events are complex because there's emotions, thoughts, beliefs, people sometimes. Even if there's not other people, you still have all those things going on. Emotions are pretty simple, so they go on to the simple category. They're just one. There can be simple events. There can be complex events, right? So you can be loose with this, but you get the point, right? It's either can we do it in the simple, and then can we do it in the complex? So with this accuracy, instead of jumping to an all or nothing, like maybe you make a mistake and all of a sudden, I'm so stupid, right? I made one mistake, so all is bad. We want to see the brain create accuracy there. And so, as we're processing the emotional distress in that moment of making a mistake, as we will start seeing that in that same mistake or in similar mistakes, all of a sudden the brain is, well, yeah, mistakes happen. I've made this mistake 4 times. We're more logical as opposed to catastrophic, right? I always, that brains need to make that crossover. And it does that by processing emotions. This process is fabulous for so many things. Okay, so when we can do it in the simple place, can we see it in the complex? Now, when we're in a group setting and we make a mistake, can we stay regulated? Can we create mental accuracy, emotional accuracy? Can we do we see a new pattern showing up in the complex state? If we got yes, then we got yes, and then we're going to move on to mastery and maturation. When we are mastering something, Brett's natural to brains just master things. If we do something long enough, we're going to master it. And so if we're doing this new, the opposite of all or nothing thinking, I'm like, there should be a name for that. I'm just going to have to say accurate thinking here. When there's accurate thinking in these areas, now we can check, and now it's more masterful. People may just be like, you used to do that, because they cannot see it anywhere, because we've just really mastered this new way of being more integrated instead of all or nothing. And so then we're also going to see maturation, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more today. Okay, I think we're set up. So one of the other I'm going to introduce another one. Unsung um, treatment goals. One of the things that we're going after, and this is treatment whether you're treating yourself or being treated by a therapist, whoever is doing your treatment. Which I want you to be doing your treatment, and I want you to have a therapist if you want one, or a professional if you want one. But you definitely, I want you to be on your treatment team because you hang out with you more than anybody else. And so if you can even do the little small little things, you are providing massive brain support. Okay, so the next little function we want to see, the goal we want to see, is that you're rewiring. You can't read my handwriting. I know you can't, but I think it's nice to have something to look at. I'm a visual, so right here we've got rewiring to higher function. Okay, so over here we want to see higher functions occurring in a simple place internally. I want to see some of the basic ones. The simple ones I'm looking for is, can you do simple anger processing? Can you do simple guilt processing? Is your brain doing simple fear processing? In disorders like OCD, anxiety disorders, the predominant thing the brain cannot do is utilize fear energy well. Fear, the brain uses fear to make hope, courage, new beginnings, all sorts of phenomenal things. And if it can't get the fear converted and processed, we're just going to have fear, 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 fear. That fear is going to be utilized. It's going to come out in our behaviors. A lot of obsessions and compulsions are about that. A lot of affirmation and approval seeking is about that. Is about this. We're trying to fix this fear problem, and we have to try to fix it. We're supposed to be utilizing that fear. Okay. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm having all of the obstacles to making this one video. Okay. Um, and we want your mind body system to function well with fear. It's a simple emotion. It's one of the basic constructs of wellness. So can your brain take fear? Oh, it also makes security from this emotion. It's the feedback loop. The body lets the brain know what's scaring it, and then the brain looks at it, and the brain's job is to resolve the problem, and that might be flight, fight, freeze, faint, or fawn. Like something, that information may be that something's chasing you, in which case the survival system is going to assume that if there's fear moving anyway and just take off, which is why we support this part of the brain, because it's not always that you're being chased by something. It's rare that you're being chased by something, and this part just freaks out. So we provide this with a lot of support because of evolution, and not because your survival system is less smart than somebody else's. It's just, this is how it has evolved. This has kept us alive. And if this part does not get support, we don't get to evolve. And so we're really working with that part of the brain. Okay. So when we can get this fear up here, I was making a different point, but it's just really powerful. We get all the awesome things that we need to grow, to find security. That's what I was talking about. And to really create security for the first time. And so once the fear gets up to the top here, then they're like, oh, I understand this differently and better now. I see we're not being chased. We're actually, this is happening. Okay. And that's totally safe. Let's make security here. We'll make this part of the comfort zone, right? So it's doing all these things so that the next time that thing that was creating fear shows up, your nervous system is relaxed with it. And it's not doing any of the fear signals, because your system is taking the feedback your body gave it of this is scary, and it created something accurate with it. And now that fear process is functioning higher. And we want to see, can it do that here in a single place with fear? Can it do it when you're in a group? Right? If maybe you've got social anxiety and fear starts running, and every time you look at somebody else's face, you've got more and more and more fear, right? Well, we've been working on it in single situations. So now over here, we want to see how well this function holds together, and if your brain can sort out if it's really terrified or not, if it can use the fear well, and pretty soon you're in group situations and you're not afraid. You're not experiencing the social anxiety. Your brain is thinking with accuracy, right? And you also have a regulated nervous system. These things all build on top of each other. Okay. And then we want to see you master that. So in these situations with groups, the things you should be able to say as your brain is processing, oh, I used to have so much social anxiety in these group situations. Right, you might have some social anxiety in different situations. I can't think of any right now because my brain doesn't want to do that, but in those situations we would then turn and target those ones as well, because this gives your brain practice doing complex fear work. And we need that if we've got these disorders of anxiety and panic attacks and those sorts of things. We have to repair how our system is utilizing fear. And that creates rewiring and just building all sorts of beautiful things that that end up creating lasting health and wellness that you can rely on and depend on, and that runs on subconscious programming, not willfulness. Right? We don't have enough will energy to run and operate our system and have any kind. It's exhausting. We can't even do it, and we will fail, and we try it like that, and then we're failing. We don't know why. Boo, we're not doing it like that. I'm not doing it like that. Okay, the next thing we've got is we would want to see higher moods, right? At this point in the situation, the brain is having success with things. Oh gosh, I'm regulating my nervous system. I've got a new pattern. I'm like, oh, we're distressed. I can get us relaxed again, and I'm got new patterns there, and now I'm like, I'm more accurate. Look at me. Look at me. I'm over here being accurate. And then I'm creating higher function, and you're watching this too. And so you're seeing success. You're seeing your brain do simple things that to the rest of the world that doesn't have complex PTSD, they're like, we did that when we were 5, right? But we're doing it now because all that equipment was here. We just needed to assemble it. We needed to wire it, and we're doing it. And now we're looking at the stuff. Oh my gosh, look at me. I can be in this situation. I don't even break out in a sweat. I can be in this situation and I don't run home and go Amazon shopping all day, and blow my budget, right? We're seeing health and wellness show up. This creates the higher mood. This feedback loop of I'm doing it creates a higher mood. Also, we are getting accurate. Maybe we've had beliefs about joy is dangerous. Maybe we had parents with mental illness and they found our joy threatening to them or wrong, or maybe they were taught by their parent, you keep those joy levels low. Whatever happened, we're also, the brain is getting accurate with higher mood states. It's creating higher function. We want to see the higher moods be able to show up in simple places. So in the beginning, it might only show up in certain moments, right? And they're just small. Maybe you're by yourself, you're walking around, and you're just like, this is the exact place I want to be right now. You're having a moment like that. And maybe it doesn't last very long because your brain can't sustain it yet. But we saw it happen, and we're saying, I see you, brain, good job. And it might fall back out. But pretty soon we'd see that growing and growing and growing as your brain learned how to do that. And we took off, we got more accurate, taking off limiting and distorted beliefs around higher mood states. So we'd get here. We want to see if it can hold higher mood states in more complex situations. Once we've got that online, then we want to see if the brain can do that more masterfully. Right? That means we can go over hurdles, we can dodge things, we can be in groups, we can be in a simple situation, and in all the places, the brain seems to be really great at creating joy, higher mood states. This is absolutely something we're looking for. If that's not happening, we're digging in there. And what's up, brain? What's happening? How can we help? We'd also see this maturing. Sometimes when higher mood states come on, people don't know how to act because it's new. That means they're at the beginning of, this is me. With this, it's like this unintegrated joy. And since this higher level wasn't built in, there's not a lot of skill around it. So it's kind of bouncing around, and I'm talking a little louder over here, and I'm grabbing the microphone from everyone around me. I'm like, you need to chill a little bit. And then as the practice comes, the brain is able to do that more maturely. Right? So as you go through these processes, you may notice these things as well. And so if you are doing something new immaturely, fabulous, keep going, right? When babies are learning how to walk and they fall down a couple times or bump their legs, we don't say, oh, well, I guess you just shouldn't walk. No, we say, we comfort, we soothe, and we say, good effort. Look, you're getting better all the time, and we keep it going, right? It is safe to make mistakes. I know. I'm gonna need to do a whole video on that one. Um, okay, the other thing we want to see is we want to see completing developmental milestones. Um, this is something that humans need to do. This is something that not all of us have the privilege or the safety to do in early childhood when we were supposed to do it. And all the neurology is, all the equipment is there. It needs to be assembled and wired together. And we didn't have the support to do it then. Maybe our parents couldn't, if they're not wired for it, they would not be able to wire us for it. And we couldn't have done it for ourselves then, but we can do it for ourselves now, and we are the ones that need to do it for ourselves. I know how big of a desire it is to have somebody else do it, especially because that's leftover stuff from early childhood. But we really can do these things now, and we need to. So some of this stuff, we're going to see things. I'm going to talk about 4 things real quick, because I'm working on keeping videos shorter. One of the things we're going to see that needs to take place is people to process emotions and respect boundaries. This happens developmentally with children at about 1.5, 2, 3, 4. And what do we do when we run into a boundary when we're 2 and 3 and 4 and we're safe? We throw a fit. That's what we do. Some of us, it wasn't safe to throw a fit, so we're throwing a fit now because we're actually working on that developmental milestone of being able to process emotions and respect boundaries. And we're at a toddler level. Please do not be ashamed of this. This is real, and we weren't able to do it then. We need to do it now. So sometimes with clients, I am like, we need to throw some fits here. We can be safe with them. We don't have to throw fits on other people. We don't have to weaponize the fits, but we need to practice some fit throwing because we need to get enough movement here so we can get the maturation more developed. Okay. Another thing that we want to see, and when processing is happening, this is not a lifetime of fit throwing. It can be a couple of days, it can be a couple of weeks, it can be a month. I have had times where I have thrown fits in my journals for like at least 6 to 9 months about one topic. That's a whole nother thing for a whole nother time. But I'm glad I did it because it's done now. But okay, another thing that we will see is um, the need for it's a play style developmentally developmental milestones in play. Children will play by themselves, then they'll play next to each other. This is called something. Oh gosh, if you're a child development person, pop that in there because that word's not coming from me. Side by side play. Oh, it's called something. And then there's also interaction play, right? And we're interacting and playing with each other and collaborative and cooperative and teamwork and all the things. Some of us can't get past the playing by the self. And so we want to mature that process. Some of us are in marriages and we're playing side by side. We've connected with somebody, but we actually are not wired for interaction play, so we're by side. We want to see that developmentally process and mature. If the processor is processing, that we will watch that mature. Um, Another one is object permanence. If I can see it, it's there. If I can't see it, it's gone. Where is it? Right? And this is like affirmation. If you're affirming me, I feel pretty secure. If it's gone, if you take a break or a walk, it's gone. I can't see it. Right? We want to be able to understand that it's, even though it's not here now, it's still there. Right? If somebody, I'm reassured. We want to internalize reassurance, affirmation, approval, those sorts of things, and not. We want to know that it's available, even if somebody's not constantly doing that. And that's wiring. That's not you're a baby. That's not whatever. That's this skill. Your brain is early on in development in being able to do it. We need to walk it through its process of maturation. These parts will meet you in maturation very, very quickly. Okay. Another milestone that doesn't get completed in childhood, often with complex PTSD, is individuation. The ability to become an individual separate from the parent. This is also something we're looking to watch the brain resolve. Okay, and so these are a few of the developmental milestones that we're looking to progress. Some of us have global issues with this, and it's everywhere, and some of us have evolved to a place where it's just little pockets, and some of us aren't really noticing very much at all. We'll get a couple of triggers or things a year, and we'll work through those, and life goes on because we love our working with our inner world, and we're going to be supportive and show up for ourselves because we've learned to. Okay, that's really, those are some of the unsung treatment goals. That's what we're looking for. We want to see, can we do it in the simple? Can we do it in the complex? Can we master it? Can we mature it? We want to see those things going on. And if you're looking at this, you'll watch it happen. Okay. Now, the absolute wonderful way of working with your processor is by using some very different interventions. We want to use, we're working with the body in a very different way. I teach three of my favorite interventions for this on a free program I've developed called Interventions for Inner World Transformation. This is wonderful. I encourage you to try it. If you have not yet signed up and watched these video trainings and learned these interventions and tried them out, please do so now. This is all I had, and one of them is all I had, and I used it back in when I was 30, a couple of years ago, a lot of years ago, and I resolved my OCD. I got free. I didn't even know what I was doing. It took me a lot longer than it would take me now, but it was really enough. Now, I do want to say that I have since developed a process where I walk people through things that took me forever to do. Okay, 3 years my OCD, and about 7 years complex PTSD, and so now I walk people through a process that takes about 2 to 6 months of specific and targeted brain work. If you're somebody with complex PTSD, there's quite a bit of work to do, but it will resolve very beautifully, and you get to watch all these things that I've just talked about in these two videos happen. Just by working this one brain function. And so, and that program is called Inner World Transformation. And so you can jump on that today if you want to. It's available on my website. Yeah, so that's it for me. I'm going to go. I want to tell you about those two little things, but I definitely encourage you to jump on the free training right away. And you can skip that and go to the other, because I still will teach you the interventions. And then you will be on an 8-week journey with me to really heal and do this brain work. So that's it for me. Take care. Bye.